What's up, believers? Welcome to Make Us Believe, a wrestling podcast by fans for fans. I am one of your hosts, Michael.
And I'm John.
And today we are officially in the postseason of the WWE wrestling season, I would say, right? Like normally it kicks off with the road to WrestleMania. I consider the postseason. I don't know, John, do you feel like that's an apt description?
Yeah, but I feel like the road to the Rumble is a road to WrestleMania, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Which is why
Yep.
I'm expanding it out a little bit. Normally it starts at the Rumble, right? Like the Rumble is the official kickoff to the road to WrestleMania. Then you have the Elimination Chamber and all that fun stuff. But since we have sorry, there's music in the background.
Well, we could call this the wild card series of the playoffs.
Yeah. I would say that. I I think I started it a little early this time because we've had people officially declaring, right? So the Rumble hype has started. It's, not that it needs
Mhm.
it much because it's the Rumble,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things where the hype has officially started. Like we have Jay declaring, we have Gunther declare. Well, Gunther did declare, then he's in the match with AJ now. Um, so we Cody's declared, like so we have declarations happening. So I feel like the Rumble is officially happening now. We have matches starting to get lined up. So I'm considering I like what you said. It's the wild card. The wild card has officially started for the playoff season.
Yeet.
Yeet indeed, my friend. All right. Well, in the immortal words of QB1, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. We got a few things. We got Drew winning the world title,
Oh yeah.
which I thought was pretty great. I mean, I thought, and I love Cody Rhodes, but it was getting a little bit stale there. And also this kind of puts in a little bit more story with, Drew deserves it. Drew's been working. He's been putting everybody else over. He's kind of was in a spot where if he doesn't win this, it's going to look really bad. I don't know where he goes from there. He can't just keep getting these main event spots and failing. So I thought it was well deserved. I think it shakes things up a little bit. One thing I didn't understand was the aftermath from it with Cody, obviously declaring himself for the Royal Rumble, which, side note, I kind of hate when people declare for the Royal Rumble. It takes a little bit of the surprise out of it. I like back in the day where you never really knew who was going to come out. You had a good idea, like, obviously a bulk of people who you knew were going to be in there. I don't really think declaring for the Royal Rumble needs to be a thing, but I will say this one was a little bit more weird to me. Cody declaring himself for the number one spot. Why? What purpose is that? I want to win my third Rumble, and I want to do it from the number one spot. Like, why the number one spot? Like, who cares? Like, you just want to win the Royal Rumble. You're literally putting
It,
yourself in the hardest position. Um, like, I mean,
yeah,
unless you're number two, which to me, I think the number two entrant should get the same credit as the number one entrant. Like, if you win it at one or
match
two,
doesn't
it's
start.
yeah,
The match doesn't start till both of
yeah,
them are in there. They've
yeah,
literally like Rey Mysterio went in is like I think he was number two, right? He was
yes,
the number two
yes,
entrant and had the record.
yeah,
And the literal match didn't start until he got in there. But he's like,
right.
oh well, he finished from number two. Like it's the same time.
I know
It's the
it.
same exact amount of time. That's always made me upset.
Me too. Me too. And I'm glad we have this format to kind of, for lack of a better term, bitch about it a little bit because it's
Yeah,
always bothered me. Like if you're they should both be considered the number one entrant because they are. If you win it at number two, it's the same thing as winning as number one. You just didn't have your entrance before the other guy. You guys started the match at the exact same time. The exact second the match started, you guys were both in it. You guys are both the first entrants. But
yeah.
anyway,
The what's it called? The time in the Rumble is
yeah,
the same. Your
yes,
entrance
yes,
time doesn't count. It doesn't matter. Like none of that matters. It
no,
matters when the bell rings and that's when the timekeeping happens.
Yeah, and
So
it's a semantics thing, but like to me, if you're going to give extra credit to these few people who are number one who made it all the way through, which I think is just HBK and Benoit, number two should get the exact same amount of credit. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. But also, going back to it, yeah, Cody saying he wants to go in number one, like I get it, man, you're flexing, but like that's a dumb flex. You're making it harder for yourself to get to the finish line at WrestleMania, which you desperately want. So why not just be like, I'm declaring myself for the Royal Rumble. You could do the bingo draw, and I'll go in wherever I can. It's dumb.
because if
But
you're
yeah,
if you're gonna declare just randomly declare a number, declare 30. Like let's
yeah,
all be real here.
yeah, right,
I'm declaring myself for the Royal Rumble at number 30. Like
yeah,
if we're just calling dibs and
yeah,
that's allowed,
exactly,
then
yeah.
just do that.
Now, like realistically, nobody's gonna complain that Cody wants number one. But like to me, if I'm kayfabe a wrestler, I'm just be like, oh, Cody wants number one. Okay, dumbass, go ahead. Like I'll take whatever. I'll take the latest one I possibly can. Because yeah, I mean, you're like you have to deal with literally every other person who goes in the Rumble. You're gonna have to face in some capacity. So that was the only thing that I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like that doesn't make any story sense at all why he would want to go number one, unless it was just like, I want this accolade now. But that accolade isn't the main goal. The main goal is getting your title back. So you should just be wanting to win this match by any means possible. So that bothered me a little bit. But other than that, I'm happy for Drew.
Please this episode.
Sorry, what was that?
There's like there was music, we dropped you, like we dropped connection a little. Like I'm gonna have to go back and edit some of this stuff. So it's cool, it's fine, got it handled. I'm gonna reset. You were saying about Drew.
Oh, no, so I was just going back to it saying, overall, I'm happy for Drew. I think that changes things, changes directions a bit. And it makes more things more interesting going towards the Rumble because, now we have new storylines that we could face. And again, Cody, as much as I love him, it was getting stale. And that's kind of how it is. We've talked about it before, but for heels, the title reign's exciting because you always want them to lose. For faces, the most exciting part is them chasing the title. It's hard to keep it fresh when you're a longtime champion and you're a face. And Cody's you know, had pretty long runs. Like with a small hiccup with John Cena, like he's been the champion for a really long time now. So overall, I'm cool with it. I liked what they did, and I'm excited to see what comes next.
Yeah, same here. Like I really did like the fact of like, yeah, you don't get a rematch clause, like start at the bottom, you have to go through the Rumble. It makes it more exciting.
Mhm.
And I think the fatal four way for number one contender, I think it's brilliant. I really like it. It's a little bit fresh, a different take on it and stuff. You get to see more people in the spotlight. Like I dig it. I super dig it.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I agree with you. I don't like the declaring part because I feel I do like the days when you could see a Stone Cold Steve Austin, a Rock, and a Tajiri all in the Rumble, and you don't know who's gonna pop out, when they're gonna pop out, or what. Like those moments I really like. This, you know, coming in, well, I've made a big enough name for myself, so I'm just gonna declare that I'm gonna join. Like it takes some of the fun out, you know.
Yeah. 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 I
Um,
mean, you gotta have a little magic, a little surprise that comes with it.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Uh, I do I do agree. It was getting stale, and I liked that they let Cody kind of address that in his promo, um, where he talked about like it was getting stale and predictable and stuff like that, and it's like they're kind of giving him the John Cena treatment of being like squeaky clean, but not so squeaky clean.
Hmm.
Like he still gets to be like the face of the company, but he gets a little bit of edge to him. So he can kind of pull that up. I really like where his character's at right now, and the creative ability they're giving him, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, it's it's
Uh,
it's been pretty good. He's been handling it really well. Honestly, he's true pro.
yeah. Um, so speaking of Rumble, what are we thinking? Like, I know there's a ton to talk about, but we have to address the elephant in the room, right? Like, the Rumble's coming in a week or so,
Yep.
a little over a
Yep.
week. We have Saturday night main event coming up, and then the next week after that was the Rumble. Um, I don't know. My money's still on Sami Zayn. What about you?
No, I'm sticking with Sammy. I think they've been doing a good job about kind of having him sticking his nose in a little bit. Little don't forget about me, but not so strong to where you're like, oh yeah, he's definitely going to win it because, um, like especially with the past week, there's a couple other guys who are kind of starting to stick their heads up. Who are you're like, I can kind of see them getting this Rumble push now. I still like Sammy. I still stick by that firmly, and that's still who I want to win. But I would say if it's not Sammy, who I'd like to see, just with the emergence of how things have turned out in the past week or two, is Finn. I really liked. I mean, and a lot of it was where they were at, right? But Finn's pop was so big. That match was honestly probably the best match I've watched CM Punk have since returning to the company. It was really good, and I kind of think whether it's long standing or not, that kind of put Finn back on the map. I really kind of liked what I saw there.
Yeah,
So I would say still Sammy is my favorite, but I do like Finn as a number two.
I don't mind that at all. I like that match was a banger. It was absolutely great. And it
Hmm.
was one of those ones where not only did he, like, just because he came out to his old music and stuff like that, but you really
You
got
felt
a
it.
reminder of who Finn Balor is and what he can do when he's
Oh
given
yeah.
a good direction and a good match opponent and everything like that. Because we know, like, CM Punk is no slouch in the ring. Like, he is the champ for a reason. Like, let's be honest here.
Hmm.
But also Finn Balor was the first Universal Champion for a reason also. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
could absolutely see him with the title, and I think he should have the title. He's been kind of drifting around for so long now and doing the Judgment Day thing, but I feel like, he should be like the champion at some point. He really should.
I agree. And it's easy to forget, Finn's a phenomenal wrestler because yeah, he's kind of been, I don't want to say buried, but he's been a little bit lost in the Judgment Day, like where, it's almost become a little bit of a floundering faction. I'm not saying that they're a pointless faction. They still certainly serve their purpose, but it's definitely more suited for the women in that faction than the men right now. And then he's kind of been very involved on and off, I'd say, with the tag division. So, you see him doing a lot of that stuff, not a lot of singles stuff. Like I'd have to look this up. I'm not sure the last time he had a singles victory. Like I think it could possibly be over a year since the last time we saw that, including, the last match we saw him in with CM Punk. But yeah, but that match was great. The fact and you mentioned it, like he came out with his old music. That was pretty awesome. And then the crowd just went wild. And you even hear him great in front of the camera saying, like, I can't even hear the music. Like that's awesome. Good for him. Um, you know, him and Drew kind of getting their flowers while they're doing this UK tour. Two British guys who are still showing that they can throw. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And it was one of those things too, because you see it, like you mentioned, going back to Drew, like you mentioned that he has been like, taking L after L after L, like putting other people over and stuff, and it was getting really, really stale to the point where it's like Drew is not a threat. He's not an intimidating threat. He could show up and you're like, oh, okay, cool, it's Drew McIntyre. He's gonna lose in the big match or whatever, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but you really forget, like, it was one of those, like, he was getting that reputation and you're looking at it as it's just Drew McIntyre. but you forget that it's Drew McIntyre. Like, he is really good in the ring. He puts
He's
on really good matches, and like, he understands what's going on. And that match with Cody, I was invested.
yeah.
It was good.
No, it was a great
Um,
match. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and you're right. Like it's been, this has been him for probably the past year. Like he's going to mess you up before the match. Maybe he'll mess you up after the match, but he's not going to win the match. And then it's just rinse and repeat. And you can only do that so many times. But yeah, I think that, kind of going back to Finn too, Drew's a great example of how you could have somebody taking L after L, seeming like they're getting buried, and how quickly you could turn it around with the right moment and the right dance partner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, okay, so big question. We covered this before. The Nigerian Colossus relinquishes the NXT title,
Hmm.
has yet to show up in WWE, right? We know
Yep.
he's on the main roster. We know he's probably going to be on Raw. He has not been there. He's not shown up. We have another Raw, we have another SmackDown, we have Saturday night main event. Actually, we have two SmackDowns, one Raw and a Saturday night main event before the Rumble. Do you think Oba is going to show up on any of those, or is he going to make his main roster debut during the Rumble?
Yeah, I mean that's a tough question too. I think at this point, especially with the Rumble being like what a week and a half away now, like I think at this point you just wait until the Rumble. Like, everybody knows he's shown up. Everybody knows he's on his way. Um, just have him come at the Rumble, and then take off after that. I would be pretty surprised if they did it any other way. Kind of like what
They
we were
would
talking
lose that
about,
pop.
maybe
They
not.
would lose that pop,
Yeah, exactly.
and
You would.
they love the pop. They love
Yeah.
it more than anything. It's the reason why why champions were coming out second, or
Yeah,
first. Champions were coming out first so they could get that pop in Ireland for Becky and get that pop for Finn and for Drew. Like, they were getting those. They were doing it that way for a reason.
yeah,
So I think yeah, like, for lack of a better term, wasting the debut showing of Oba before the Rumble would just be that. It would be a waste.
yeah. And I'm not saying like it's impossible to have a great entrance or return without the Rumble, but for one, again, we're so close to the Rumble, you might as well. And two, like 90% of the time when you have a great return or a great debut, it's at the Rumble. It's notorious
It-
for this. So
yeah.
so I feel like you have to do it at the Rumble.
Do you think Seth's gonna come back?
I do. I do think Seth's going to come back. I think that there's a really good chance. We haven't heard any updates on him, which is a reason why I'm leaning towards that. Usually they're not so ominous about it. I'm not saying like they never are because it's wrestling. So eventually you do want to get that that big return pop. But I just you just have a feeling that this is where Seth's going to return. You're gonna do it when the Vision's all in the match too, so he can just go nuts on them, start eliminating them. Then him and Braun have a moment where they're fighting each other. You could see it. It's basically rates itself, but that's what I expect to happen with that.
I feel like that's super fair, and that does build up. Like, there's tension already there.
Yep.
It's a storyline. We know where he's probably going to go afterwards, or after the Rumble and everything, because he has all of that to work out.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And like you said, going after Braun, probably um, eliminating Braun.
See, I don't.
Maybe
I don't know if
I don't know if he eliminates them, but just going after.
I think he's
Uh,
going to eliminate a couple of them, and I think Braun's probably going to eliminate him. Like I think that he'll probably eliminate like Logan Paul and Austin Theory, and maybe even um, Bronson Reed. He'll eliminate at least two, but I think eventually Braun's going to get him after like he's been doing some damage because eventually the numbers game has to catch up, right? But regardless,
yeah,
like that he's going to return to fight them in the Rumble. Like that's what has to happen, no matter how it goes or how they wind up booking it. I feel like that's a no-brainer, assuming he's healthy enough to go.
I agree with that.
Mm.
Um, so and then I'm jumping around now because this is kind of where my mind's at. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
go going back to Cody. Um, I'm not expecting him to win the Rumble, obviously, but what I am super excited about, and I mean super excited, I legitimately like sat up and was like, I said, I'm really invested in this as it was happening, is Cody versus Jacob. I am
Uh,
here storyline, and I think that I feel like we're gonna get some quality content out of this.
you said in your sorry, you were saying Cody versus Jacob.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that because we
No,
know that
I
that storyline's coming, right? Like
yeah.
with that storyline building up, it's kind of you can see that Cody's not going to win the Rumble because he's
Mhm.
in a pretty heavy feud right now. Um, and I mean, like I'm just excited to see the matches and like what these two like bring to the table. It's just I'm excited. I'm really invested in this feud in particular.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm kind of wondering where they're going to go with it because they're both faces right now. Um, I feel like you do have some options. I don't know if they take it up on this, but I'll tell you, while we're on the topic, I'll tell you what I think they should do. They usually don't, but I'll just tell you how John would book it. I think that because you still have Drew denying that he's the one who attacked him backstage. So Cody doesn't have the belt anymore. He's got to have a he should have a new direction. He doesn't have to. I'm not saying that this is totally played out, but he is their super face. So I understand for the company, it's hard for them to turn somebody like that. But I think you have Cody maybe be the one who actually attacked him, kind of like a little bit of a Jade Cargill situation from last year where, you're kind of misdirected on who attacked him. And I know it's a little bit overplayed, but it's a perfect way to turn Cody heel. And I know we've talked about it on other podcast shows that we've done, but I do think that Cody having that heel turn would be amazing because he's a great heel too. You haven't really seen a lot of it in WWE, at least not uh, the current developed Cody who's not a kid anymore. But I think that that's a great way to have the heel versus the face instead of two faces, and then people are kind of split on who they're rooting for. But you could do it a bunch of ways, and no, you don't even have to do that right away. This is a rivalry you could build up a little bit, especially if you have Jacob eliminate Cody from the Rumble. Obviously, they're going to carry over afterward. You could have them have a normal match, whoever wins it, and then you kind of start coming out with the suspicious Cody stuff. It actually is a feud you can milk out for a little while without it getting repetitive or stale.
So that's fair. That's fair. And it's weird, because you can't really. I feel like in this day and age, you can't really do what they did with John Cena, where you keep him a face for literal years, and he's the face of the company and stuff, but he's just never going to heel turn for like a decade or more.
Yeah, and
You
and I
can't
know
really
that
do that anymore.
it's hard to do, and I would say it was even hard to do back then because even
Hmm.
though they did it, and I understood why they did it, he was breaking records for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. His merch sales were off the charts. But honestly, like I hated John Cena for most of his career because it was the same stale, fruity pebble face character, and it didn't do anything for me. And I thought he should have had a heel turn, maybe once or twice during that long face run.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's a hard thing to do, and Cena. And again, I know that I'm kind of getting into a very arguable territory here, but like where Cena was on top of the company, that's that's not my favorite era. Like to me, it was kind of a lame era because he was the face of the company and he was their super face. And I agree, it gets harder to do as time goes on because kayfabe is slowly dying more and more, especially when you have shows like Unreal and all these behind the stage things. Back in the day, you could have, Hulk Hogan be a face for a decade and a champion for 2 years, and it didn't matter. Nowadays, like where there's so much content and so many shows, and these guys are there week after week, things do get stale. I guess that's my word of the show is stale because it's hard to keep being invested in these guys when it's the same thing week after week, year after year, and it just, it's never changing. So to me, I would love to see Cody go heel for a while. Let the WWE audience see like what he was able to do in the Bullet Club while he was in New Japan and while he was in Ring of Honor, because that stuff was so good that it basically was one of the founding things that created AEW, and ultimately what made WWE bring him back was his heel work. It was that good. So I would really like to see something like that. But I mean, who knows, right? It with TKO. I'm not sure how they're gonna sort of navigate that stuff, if they're gonna be strictly business, which some of the stuff I read, I'm kind of afraid that's what it's gonna be, especially when they talk about how they're gonna market it, tickets and merch and stuff. So I hope that they just do what's right for the fans, because I think that that's gonna ultimately lead to better stories, which will really hopefully lead to better profits for them. And it's a win-win.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I do share that same hesitation. Like when you're just so focused on profits, you lose out on the ability to listen to the fans and do what is best for the fans.
Absolutely.
What's best for business isn't necessarily what's best for the fan base,
Hmm.
and I think that gets lost. And unfortunately, like when you have companies that are beholden unto like, stakeholders and stuff like that, investors and everything, they make these decisions that are not going to create good content, and it's going to hurt the fan base. But, you know, we're still going to buy tickets. We're still going to buy t-shirts and
Right.
mugs and little foam fingers and all that other stuff, like, so they're going to keep doing it. I'm not saying boycott or anything like that. I'm just saying that I share you share your hesitation with that, because it looks like that's what they're going to do. You can
Yeah,
already
it's
see it with
reason for
like
alarm.
the packages for, WrestleMania and stuff like that. Like all of these things are just getting astronomical, and they're not, cutting it back at all.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But I just, 100% agree with all that. It's just to add to it, it's just such a short-sighted thing. It's like, well, this guy's selling great merch, and this guy is, our number one face, and we can't mess that up. But you turn him heel, it's exciting. People want to tune in more, and then you have the opportunity to build up more faces. Now, I know that's easier said than done. Like I could think in my lifetime, you know, there's not a lot of like generational faces. For me, it's Hulk Hogan, it's John Cena, and I'll say Cody Rhodes is getting pretty damn close if he's not there right now. So, it is, and that's three. That's three massive faces in my lifetime. And, so even if you can't build like a generational face out of this, you can still create great storylines and you can still build up other people just by making that shift. And again, like ultimately, I think that's good for business in the long run.
yeah, no, I think it is too. And I really, if you look at it, like you made a good point earlier about, like the slow death of kayfabe, right?
Hmm.
Like before, like we all saw the curtain call, but that's because somebody snuck a video recorder or
Right.
video camera into a house show,
Yeah.
like those kinds of things. Now everybody has a phone, like you have a camera on your phone. You
Yeah.
can record everything in 8K as it happens. Like there's no secrets as far as that goes anymore. So it is it is, cutting back and stuff. We all know now where pro wrestling comes from, and you
Mhm.
just go to a school and, do the indies and everything like that. So like our knowledge base is growing out. But at the base of it, you said a really good thing was, like it gives the fans something to talk about. Like
Right.
just having a guy sitting there as a face selling t-shirts, selling merch, selling tickets, is great, and it's good for business and everything. But when you do something in the business that causes people to have a reaction, they talk about it, and the more they talk about it, the more interest it grows. So it's almost like an investment, right? And I think
Absolutely.
you meant, like, you hit the nail on the head when you said that they're short-sighted. I'm glad to see that, like, guys like Shawn Michaels and Triple H who have been in the business and kind of understand it are in those leadership roles, but it's not the overall leadership of TKO. And since TKO doesn't understand that, it's seemingly, um that's what worries me. Because it, controversy causes conversations, and conversations causes interest, and interest brings more eyes to the product, which brings more money in. So why wouldn't you?
Couldn't have said it better myself, honestly. Like that's exactly where it comes down to. Long term booking, long term storytelling, keeping things fresh. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that this is where, you kind of get into, well, we can maximize now, or we can, maybe not make as much money right now, but over the period of a year or two, we'll be making more money overall. But it's all about what you've done for me lately. And I get they have shareholders they probably got to answer to, but as a wrestling fan and a purist who won't even watch Unreal, like I refuse to watch it. I just want some good story. I've watched this long enough to where I want to be rewarded for my dedication and my loyalty to this company.
Hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense. So, okay, so we have our predictions of who's going to win. We have our predictions of some people coming back, and debuting. Like we've said, Oba probably going to debut there. Um, was Seth probably coming back, like hopefully. Um,
Jericho,
and
as
then
we
we have
discussed in a previous episode.
Jer Jericho, as we've discussed in previous episodes. Um, yeah, do you think any other big moments around that, like around the Rumble itself? Because we know the Rumble's going to be awesome, like it always is, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So we
No,
have Drew with the world title match, which really anybody in that in the Fatal 4-Way, I feel like is going to give a good match. So I don't think there's any downside. Um, with them trying to push, if they don't push the Cody Jacob storyline, and they try and put Cody back on a trajectory to a title, does Cody win the Rumble for the third time and then go on to challenge Drew at WrestleMania, or does he lose? Sami Zayn gets the Rumble, but then does Cody get Elimination Chamber? I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but
no,
just
no.
thinking long term.
It's a good question, and it's a hard one to answer. I really do think it would be a bad idea to have Cody win a third Rumble right now. I'm not saying it's not something you could do down the road. It's just too much too quick. Like I said, I love Cody, but it's getting to a point where we need things changed up a little bit. If you have him win the Rumble, there's not really much of a chase here. Now I get it, like he's going to be starting at one. If he goes all the way through that Rumble, it's impressive. But it's going to start getting into the territory where you're cramming him down our throats, and that's not what Cody should be about. Like he finished his story, we were all invested in that. Now you gotta keep me invested in Cody now, and having him just win everything isn't the way to do it. I kind of, and I hate to say it because you never know how it's going to go when they start this, but I think you kind of have to have Cody fall on hard times a little bit. um, you know, to bring back a saying of his dad. Like, that's kind of what made Cody. That's what made Cody very lovable was like, kayfabe and real life. He wasn't getting a lot of breaks, and he figured out a way to overcome it. But then he was just on top of this company for what, at least 2 years now, right? And so now I kind of need him to go on maybe a little bit of a losing streak, a little bit of bad luck, maybe. Get eliminated by like, and I know the question was more if he doesn't go the Fat Two route. I think you kind of have to right now, though. I think Jacob should eliminate him. Then they have a match. Maybe Jacob wins, and that does a ton for Jacob's stock. And then you can
Yeah,
kind of start turning Cody heel a little bit. Him losing his way. You showed a little, a few chinks in the armor, over the last few months. I think now is a good time to where you can make a really compelling story out of that. And then we're reinvested in Cody. That's good heat to put on him. I don't know. I guess I just don't know how fans stay interested if he wins this Rumble. I think if he wins this Rumble, and I hate to say this because again, like I really do love Cody. Like I'd say overall, he's probably my favorite wrestler right now, but he probably can and should get booed if he wins this Rumble because it's too much.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. I feel honestly like so we have said in the past that Cody's story was one of the best storylines that WWE's ever done, right?
Yeah,
It
I
was
mean, in my
like
opinion, it's number one.
a two yeah, like it's a over 2 year build on a continuous storyline that included everything from WrestleManias to Royal Rumbles to SummerSlam, everything under the sun, right? And it was fantastic. I feel like the problem is inherently with that storyline, once he did finish the story, he finished the story. So what do you do with him then? There's literally no chase because he finished his story.
Right.
So do you give him another story? How do you give him another story? Like that kind of stuff is like you built up this massive, massive, massive masterpiece
Mhm.
of a storyline, and then it finishes, and like, what the hell do you do from there?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
And that's what I'm saying. Like you need to put some real thought into this, and you can't just keep having him, get knocked down and immediately fly back up to the top. That's not going to work. It's really not going to work long term. And again, going back to Cena, like that's kind of why I was never a Cena fan. He won 17 titles, and when he was active, it didn't really seem like there was a lot of time where he wasn't the champ. He'd lose it maybe for a little bit, he'd get it right back, maybe the next pay-per-view or two.
Yeah.
I think that that's hard to do, and I don't think it's interesting TV to watch. So I am, like I said, I hate to say it, I am rooting for him to fall in those hard times, and then you could figure out, like, even if it's not the direction I said, you could figure something else out. I mean, I'm not even saying like I wouldn't have him win the Elimination Chamber either, but that's also an obstacle that you could have him come up short on, and then he has to start second guessing himself and start questioning himself and start trying to figure out what's going on, what he has to change, and then you could see him sort of redevelop, I guess his character, his story, and then you could create something new. But yeah, I don't want to see him going for, or at least winning a major title anytime soon. I definitely want to see it again, but you have to recreate what's going on with Cody for me right now, because I've seen Top Dog QB1 Cody long enough now. Now I do want to see what Drew does. I do want to see where CM Punk's going with this. Um,
Hmm.
so you got to give me some other options here, and you got to give me something different to be interested in, because you served me a great piece of cake, but I've been eating this cake for 2 years now. I want some different flavors now.
So this is how Michael's gonna book it. We're doing Michael's
Okay.
booking now.
All right.
Um,
Let's hear it.
Cody goes in eliminated by Jacob, right? Like you said. Pushes the feud. I want him eliminated by Jacob.
I think it's a
Jake,
must.
yeah, obviously Jacob doesn't go anywhere, whatever. Maybe Cody stands by and helps Jacob get eliminated, whatever, pushes that storyline forward.
That'd be
They go
interesting.
through. Um, Cody, through their storyline, I'm gonna give it probably through Royal Rumble. Like I'm gonna give them like they have another big match at Elimination Chamber, and then
Hmm.
probably like try and either finish it at Rumble or like Money in the Bank or something, like further down the road. But at a big one.
Okay.
Um, over the course, I say Jacob goes over and comes out of that winning, with a little bit of a boost, behind him, a little bit of a push.
That'd be huge.
Cody starts falling on those like hard times, like you said, and then he gets like that Drew McIntyre stuff going on where he's like he's losing, he's getting to him, and he goes, he does the heel turn, and then we get heel Cody, but heel Cody at the bottom. So I want heel Cody to go for either the US title or the IC title and like build
Interesting.
himself back up through the
I'm
ranks,
in.
but as heel Cody. And then by the time he gets back to the world title, he's a heel. We're interested again because he's reinvented his character and stuff, and we've watched him come up. Now he's got, he had those other title things going on. So maybe by next year's WrestleMania or something like that, he's reintroduced back in it, but we're back in it behind him because he's fresh. It's something new, and he gets to exercise his creativity a little more. That's what I would say.
Book it. I love it. Could I just add one minuscule thing that I'd like to see? And this isn't important at all.
So,
I love everything you said. I'm down for that. You know what else I want to
mhm.
see? If Cody does
What's
this
up?
heel run, I also want him to go back to the black hair, you know? Change it
Yeah,
all up. Change it all up. Like I want a different I want evil Cody.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Um,
And I
yeah,
used to kind of consider like back in the day when he was more New Japan and Ring of Honor, I used to consider the blonde hair evil Cody because he changed to blonde initially, I believe, like when he started going heel. But now he's been faced so long with that blonde hair. I think changing it back to the black hair would just be like, okay, something's different, something's changed. Now, obviously, his actions are gonna like really illustrate that, but it's just something a little extra, something a little bit for the old school fans. Like, I think that that'd be neat. But yeah, I don't need that, but I'd appreciate that.
let's book it. Put it in there.
Yep, throw it
Um,
on in.
okay. I feel like we have talked about Cody a lot this episode, so I'm gonna be like, cool, no more Cody.
Okay.
Um, you know what I actually want to talk about? Like we've talked about our Rumble predictions, and there's not a lot else otherwise, like matches super set, right? Like we have some tag team
Hmm.
title matches and stuff, and I'm interested to see what happens in the tag division. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's still building out, especially after the
Yeah.
Usos are the champions and stuff like that. So it's kind of in that reconstruction phase for both the men and the women. So I'm just kind of like, cool, let it settle after Rumble, and then we'll see where it's at. Um, but it does lead me to some things uh that pet peeves, if you will, of mine.
Sure.
Overused spots in the ring. And it was specifically during the women's tag triple threat that I
Hmm.
saw. Like, they had it a couple weeks ago or something, started me on this. Yeah. I just want to go over some of the, what I consider spots that are just crazily overused now. So they're not exciting, like they once
Yeah.
were. If
Yeah.
that's okay with you.
I'd love it. I'd love it. Let's do this.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you want to do like a top five or just like list them off or whatever. Um, I'm gonna start with the announcing table spots.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Like going onto the table, doing stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, like it used to be a thing where, if you use the announce table, which for some reason is legal, but a regular table isn't, I don't know. Um, but it used to be something that was like, whoa, dude, you put him through a table. Now it's almost like at least once an episode somebody goes through the table.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not exciting anymore. It's just part of the match. And I feel like it's taken that shine off of it a little bit.
Yeah.
To the point where, yeah, if you want to make it special, you need like Logan Paul jumping from the top turnbuckle onto the table, like, or Braun Breaker going from from the apron to the table, like big moves like that to make it worth it. And I mean, if you're doing that, it's just not worth it, in my opinion. Like just bring it back. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, the timekeeper's barricade that breaks away. I feel like
Okay.
that's overdone also. Like, if you're playing in the WWE 2K games, that's like a super. It is categorized as like a super finisher, right? So you need like two or three saved up finishers before you can go through the table. It's like up there with, or before you can go through the barricade. It's like up there with big guys breaking the ring. It's on that level.
Yeah.
And yet we get it almost every time that Braun Breaker's out there,
Yeah.
like kind of thing. So I'm just like, oh, what? Can we just not?
Right. Right.
My-
More of a special occasion thing. I agree, and I guess
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
kind of the point for all
exactly.
of these. But yeah, yeah, I agree.
The other ones are legit in the ring moves now. I'm going back, going into the ring. The thing that got me is that when you have like a triple threat or specifically like multiple tag teams in there, when you get that top rope superplex power bomb spot,
Yeah.
and it was cool the first time.
Yep.
Now it's just like it takes so long to set up to make sure that everybody's safe and it's done correctly that it's just you see it coming a mile away and it's not special anymore. But yet it happens every single time you have
I
multiple
agree.
people in that match.
Yeah, it's almost more surprising when they don't do it. I agree.
Yeah. Um, and the other thing with tag teams that I'm going to mention is hot tags.
Oh,
This
you don't
is,
like a hot tag?
dude, every tag is a hot tag now, like every tag. And it's like to the point where it's like you're going to do a hot tag when you're literally 2 feet from your other person. Like I've watched Alexa Bliss literally have to jump backwards to do the hot tag because she was too close to Charlotte.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah,
So yeah,
that
it's just like, yeah, if you're halfway across the ring and you're gonna jump for the hot tag, do it. Like that makes sense. That looks legit. But it's gotten to the point so far where like seriously, they do it 3, 4 times a match. It's not special. And
wait,
a
wait.
lot
So
of times the
are you talking about
positioning isn't right.
are you talking about the hot tag or like the diving tag? Because I
It,
consider them
it's
different things.
okay, yeah. So I'd consider the diving tag the hot tag.
Okay,
Like
all right. So I consider the hot tag more like when you like the person who's not in kind of just like taps the other wrestler, like taps them on their shoulder
okay.
or whatever. Like that's a hot tag to me.
I I'm not as upset by that one, but I
Okay.
do agree it does happen too much. I would
Okay.
like it if it happened less because it makes for those, especially on the heel teams, it makes for that special occasion where you don't know who's in and some fuckery can happen, so I
Yeah.
agree it happens too much, but the diving tag is the thing that really, really, really gets on my nerves
All
because
right. So we
yeah, it's just
yeah.
not special, and
Yeah, no. So
like literally 9 times out of 10, there's no reason for it because you're close enough to just reach out and tag them.
yeah, so even though we have different definitions of a hot tag, I was going to disagree with you, but I actually do agree that the diving tag is overused. 100%. I wouldn't even thought of that, but you mention it and it is. It's absolutely overused. I love what I consider a hot tag. I just think it's good strategy, and every now and then the ref won't see it, which I like too. But yeah, I think it's just a good way to kind of change up on the fly, and I just think it's good tag team strategy and chemistry. But yeah, diving tags, absolutely. Like you see it all the damn time. It's just almost like a generic like exciting moment they're trying to put into the match, but it's become very generic because I'm with you. Like I don't know if you've had a tag match in the last 20 years that hasn't had one.
Y- Yeah, I yeah, it's too much. Yeah, the last thing that I would say is kip ups. Like
Uh,
it used to be special and used to be a signal of like I'm resilient and I'm still in this fight. Now
yeah.
it's like I'm gonna do a suplex, kip up. Oh, I did a bulldog, kip up, like
So you're talking about kind
eh,
of like over pinning. Is that what you mean?
not pin. No, 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 no. Like when you just like when you just like you're on your back and you pop up on your feet, like the
Oh, okay.
standard
Oh,
Shawn
I
Michaels
got you.
kip up.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha. All right. Yep. Yep.
yeah. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody does it. And I'm just like, it's not special if everybody does it. So just don't do it,
I
you
agree. I
know?
agree. I will say like when you see the I don't want to say little guys, like the smaller, not heavy dudes do it. Like I feel like yeah, it's really overused. I will say I still do get a little appreciation when a big guy does it. Like when Drew does it, I'm like, pretty cool that you could do that, Drew. Big, that's a big guy.
Yeah. And I mean, like some people put their flair on it, like Maxine Dupree, like she does it and she like pops up like a quarter of the way and then slow rises the rest of it. It's a different kip up. It's still a kip up, but it's a different one, like
Yeah.
kind of thing. But it's just the generic, I'm gonna pop to my feet like that. I feel like it's just overdone. It's too much.
Okay. I like that. That's a pretty good list. So full disclosure, I had a couple off the bat that I thought were fitting for this list, but I did just kind of have to think of a couple on the fly here. So these aren't in any particular order, but my five overused moves, I'm gonna say for starters, the super kick. Now here's the thing. Like, so three of these are moves. Three of them are. Um, and I will say two of them I don't really mind, but they are overused. So anyway, I'll talk it up. So
That's fair. This full
yeah, so two of them are when I was a kid, big time finishers, right? So one is a super kick, and that obviously made famous by Shawn Michaels. I remember way back when they even tried to have him have a different finisher, and his super kick was almost like a signature move that kind of led up to it. And that didn't
Mhm.
last long. Like the super kick just looked great. He did a hell of a, he just made it look good, and they made the right move by making that his finisher. And then the whole tuning up the bands thing that went with it. It was great. Now everybody does a super kick, and I don't know if it's ever actually used to finish. I don't know the last time it was. But yeah, I would bet that it's hasn't happened much in the last 20 years. So just super overused from a kick that used to be like an actual devastating finisher at one point. Second is in kind of the same ideology is the DDT. When I was a kid, Jake the Snake did the DDT. If I remember correctly, it was a very protected move. If he hit that DDT on you, you probably weren't kicking out.
Yeah.
Now you see DDTs like every match, like maybe more than the super kick. And so I'll say the good and the bad of it. One, I've grown into liking them as just regular wrestling moves. I understand they're nobody's they're not really anybody's finishers anymore now, but it's a cool spot in the match. And the way I kayfabe justify it is that HBK and Jake the Snake were just they created these moves essentially, even though they probably technically didn't. Jake the Snake might have, but like they were just so much better at doing the move because it was actually their move that people hit it, but it doesn't hit the same as when they did it. So that's how I try to justify it in a kayfabe way. Um, the third move that I think is way overused is the suicide dive. The suicide dive is a really cool move that doesn't feel cool anymore because, especially kind of like what you were talking about with the, if you got a bunch of people out there, if it's like a six-man tag or whatever, you're gonna see it. It's not if, it's when. If there's a bunch of people around, you're gonna get a spot like that at some point. And sometimes even if it's just two people, you'll get a spot like that. It's a really cool, dangerous move that has like no meaning at all anymore. Especially because it's outside of the ring, so it's not going to finish anything. You see it all the time. To me, that is an overused move that they could kind of, pump the brakes on a little bit. And then the last two, I got finishers not being finishers. Now, I'm okay if every now and then, you want to have somebody kick out of somebody's finishers, but man, it's like every main event match. Like I don't know if I've ever seen Cody, and I'm sure like it's happened, but I can't like this is another thing. Like I can't remember the last time I seen it where Cody needed one crossroads to end the match. That's his
Yeah.
finishing move, and I
Yeah.
feel like he's got to hit like three to maybe win the match. Like
Yeah.
like and the crossroads, I love that move. I just think it's such a cool looking move the way it flows. But like, how can I kayfabe think that this is a good finisher when it never finishes? Like I said, so
Yeah.
you see this all the time. Like I said, you want to do this every now and then. awesome, but I think finishers should be much more protected than what they are now. Throw in a couple signature moves that
Agreed.
they could do that people will kick out of, but the finisher should be sacred. And unless it's a really big match and you haven't done it in a pretty long time, like I think this is something you should see. I don't know, maybe 6 times a year. And I'm just throwing that number out there. But like you see it, you'll see it for sure every pay-per-view. But realistically, you might see it every week, somebody kick out of somebody's finisher. I'd say that's much more likely. So I don't
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. I mean, definitely add anything you want to, but yeah, that's one that maybe bothers me the most.
No, I agree with that. Like full on, like some of these matches, if you look at like Dave Meltzer and stuff like that, is gonna say like, oh, this is a 6-star match or a 5-star match, whatever. It went on for, like these matches can go on for like 45 minutes. And it's like always guys in like New Japan or,
Yeah.
something like, some overseas promotion or something where they're like really, really good. And don't get me wrong, the matches are amazing. But over the course of that match, they've done like 20 finishers they're kicking
Yeah.
out of to quote unquote build drama. And it's like you do your own finisher, you're hitting your opponent's finisher, you're hitting finishers from other people in the back, you like other like from a video game, just all these crazy things for the sake of building drama, and it ends up killing the drama because
Yeah.
it's like, like that's your finisher. It's a finisher for a purpose, like you said. It should be sacred.
Yeah.
The triple crossroads to take out, like to finish off Roman made sense to me.
Sure. Like, but that was a
But
really well built story.
exactly. And that was a very specific situation where
Mhm.
that made sense. It's like, okay, cool. One
Yes.
crossroads not going to do it. Just like one spear didn't do it. Like, I get that. And that was, WrestleMania and all of that fun stuff.
And it was also like
I would,
1,000+ day title reign, like so this man
yeah,
seems unbeatable. So yeah, of course you're probably going to need a few finishers to finish this guy. Like for
yeah,
all anybody knows anymore, he can't be beat. So yeah,
yeah.
I think that's a fair exception.
Yeah, no, like you're going up against a Titan. Absolutely, you go video game mode and save up your
Mhm.
finishers, right? And you're like,
Yep.
nope, I'm just gonna crash this dude straight with three in a row, and then call it a day. Like I get that, but yeah, no, like I would love to see somebody like get knocked out, even in like a PLE or whatever, like just be done and pinned with one crossroads. It's a finisher, and it looks
Yep.
great. Like it should be the case, just like you said a DDT should be sacred because that's actually a devastating move if you really think about the mechanics of it. I know nobody,
Yeah.
kayfabe, but nobody's getting hurt or whatever, but like legit, like it looks crazy devastating. If you just look at a raw DDT, you don't have to improve on it. That thing is just brutal.
Yeah, and
Um,
you know what? Like going back to that, like I couldn't remember it when I first mentioned it, but I actually do remember Jake being interviewed about how he came up with that move. And he said it was an accident. It was like a move gone wrong. And he accidentally like kind of fell back with the dude like a DDT. And he went to check on him and the dude was like snoring. Like so it actually is like a knockout move in real life. And then he was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna like work this into where it's safe and we can actually like have this devastating move."
yeah, yeah, that's amazing. I've
Yeah.
caught one. Uh, I may or may not have been backyard wrestling at the time when I was younger. Um, Caught one on the ground, and it was like like stone cold pile driver situation. Like my head was
Ooh.
just is not cradled correctly, and yeah, it hit the ground. And I'll tell you, I saw stars, man. Like it's no joke. It's no joke if it
Yeah.
when it actually hits or whatever. So yeah, I agree with you. Like that's overused finishers or that should not be a thing.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
what's
So
next? What's next?
all right. So my last and I will say my last and maybe least. Like this might be a little petty and it also might be a little hypocritical because I've been, building up how into kayfabe I am. But this one, I feel like we've sort of graduated out of a little bit. This is to me, this is a very 80s, 90s thing that they still do today. Maybe not as much, but still a pretty significant amount. And that's, yeah, for lack of a better term, hulking up.
Oh
Like
my
where you see,
God, I knew
yeah,
it. I knew it. You as soon as you
yeah,
said it was like from the 80s, I'm like, oh God, is it the powering up thing? Is it
yeah,
is it?
yeah, yeah, that's exactly what it is. So like to
Oh my
me,
God.
it's just it's not only is it unrealistic, which again, I know I'm being a little hypocritical here because I love kayfabe, but not only is it a little unrealistic, but it's also kind of corny now. Like,
Yeah.
especially I'll say like it's overused. Like I said, you won't see it as much as the other ones, I don't think, but you'll still see it a decent amount. But like the worst one to me is when you have somebody who's in a submission move, let's just say a sleeper, because that's the easiest one to go with. And you have like the arm raise the guy's hand 3 times. Now, to me, if his arm drops once, end the fucking match. Like this guy's out cold. Like, so you
Yeah.
have him, you have two dramatic slow ones, and then all of a sudden, not only is he not about to be dead, but he's literally got the power of, you know, however many people are in this building, like 30,000 Hulkamaniacs, like, and again, like more currently, like whatever, uh, Uso addicts, whatever, like, like, and now
Yeah.
you're just gonna power through this when, like, literally you couldn't even lift your arm, and you've been in the same submission for probably 20 more seconds because it takes the rep a day and a half to do it each time. Like, so now you have all this power. Why didn't you just do that right away? It's not,
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense, you know?
No. Well, especially with sleepers. If you've never been choked out, you were absolutely correct. Like
Yeah,
one arm getting raised or dropping, you're done. Like if you
yeah,
can't do that, like you literally like you can pass out that quick. Like you like
yes.
within
Oh
20
yeah.
seconds, you're sleeping, right?
You are
And
rapidly losing your life, like your energy, your life, whatever. Like you're
yeah,
rapidly going down. Like the longer you're in the
yeah,
move, like it's not like you're stabilizing at like, oh, I'm teetering on having some strength and not having strength. No, you're rapidly depleting your energy and like state of consciousness. So yeah,
yeah.
like I said, it's just
Yeah,
too far out there.
no, yeah, I super agree. I actually it happened on NXT. Was watching the Shiloh Hill and whatever guy it was, Josh something or whatever. Um and Shiloh Hill was doing the hulking out thing, and he's just like ah, and like literally shaking his arms and stuff. And I'm like, this is corny as hell.
Yeah,
Like, if
yeah,
you're gonna do it where you're just gonna be like whatever, don't shake and everything. Just stand up and just be like beast mode. Just sit there or take it and like snap back. Like Undertaker style or something. Like if you're
sure,
gonna sit
sure.
there and be a badass, don't make it corny. Just be a badass.
Right,
You
right.
know, so it's not a good spot. I super 100% agree with you. I feel like we should just get rid of it altogether.
Yeah, and like I
Like,
said, I know I'm a hypocrite about it, especially because Cody actually probably does it maybe more than anybody nowadays. But it's just you
yeah,
see it too much. It's super out of date to me. Like I just don't need that anymore.
yeah. No, we're a more mature fan base. That
Yeah,
like you mentioned, kayfabe is dying slowly. It's still there a little bit, and those of us that love it hold on to it dearly in our hearts.
yeah.
But
We need to
especially with
evolve.
shows like
Is
yeah,
kayfabe.
yes, exactly. And with the shows like Unreal and stuff like that, like, steering into the skid because they just are now. We
Yeah,
all know, we all know it's scripted. We all know what's going on in the background and, long-term writers planning out storylines and stuff. We all know this. So the fact that they're showing everybody, I'm not mad at that,
oh,
but
I'm mad.
I understand. I know.
I don't
But
need to see how the
re
sausage is made, but continue.
no, 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 that's fair. But really kind of read the room. Like you people know this stuff is happening. We know where the business
Yeah,
is a little bit. We know a lot more than we knew in the 90s, let alone the 80s. We don't have to read dirt sheets and wrestling magazines anymore to get our news and information on what's happening. So evolve with it. Like take certain things out, evolve the business and stuff. Some of the stuff just doesn't make sense anymore. So stop doing it.
yeah, yeah. Totally agree. It's just you gotta evolve with the times. Like keep kayfabe alive, but you don't have to like it doesn't have to be the same as it was. Because look, hulking up, like look, I've said it before. Hogan got me into wrestling two times over. He's the one who he was my first favorite wrestler. He got me hooked on it. And then when I was starting to sort of quit watching a little bit, when it was starting to get a little too corny, not as exciting, that's when he, switched and, jumped to WCW and started the NWO, and it sucked me right back in. So I have a special spot for Hogan. And when I was a real little kid, like him hulking up was everything to me. But that was a long time ago. A, I was a little kid. B, that was like 89 to early 90s. Like it's different times. I don't need it. It's just, yeah, again, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but it's one of those things that I can't believe they still do, especially as frequently as they do it.
Feel like that's fair.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that that feeling of like when Vince was unwilling to change directions when WCW was obviously whooping that ass, like he
Right.
still wanted to maintain the course with his cartoonish, characters and, appealing to the younger audience and stuff like that. And I mean, it almost cost him the business. So you would think that they would learn and be like, hey guys, this really isn't working out, or this really doesn't make sense. Let's make it, let's do something else. Let's find something else that does make sense that we can fill that void with, you know, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't work for WWE or anything, so I can't make those calls. But
Right.
I feel like
Open all offers.
yeah, open all offers. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take a part time. Whatever. Let's do this. Um, but hey, can we get some wrestling credentials the next time you guys pass through either Southern California or Michigan? Can we get some press credentials or something? I'll go
Happy
interview
to
some
help
people.
any way I can. Yeah, happy to help any way I
Anyway,
can.
yep, we will put this out there. We'll try and like get you more global. Like we'll get you on our fan base. Let's do this.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, like I just fill the void with something else, man. You got a team of the smartest people in the business working for you. You're cultivating the best talent in the world. Um, and you really can't think of another thing to do instead. Like, come on, come on. Doesn't make sense.
Yep. Yep.
All
It's a
right,
little
so
insulting to the audience.
indeed it is. All right, you want to close this out with a top five?
Yeah, we haven't done our power rankings in a while.
Yeah,
We've talked about it again. I think the last episode or maybe the last couple episodes we sort of mentioned that WWE is in a lull right now, which isn't uncommon. I feel like it's always in a lull before Royal Rumble, and that's where things start to reset. But yeah. So the Power Five rankings for me, like they're not real. They're not the. I don't feel the best about these ones, but it is where it is right now. And I just wanted to get them out there before the Rumble, so we kind of compare where we're at before the Rumble and after the Rumble. So I'll kick
that
it
makes
off with the
sense.
ladies. I'll kick it off with the ladies. And I'll go 5-1. So number five, I've got Liv. She's obviously come back recently. She's not necessarily doing a ton right now, but she is kind of putting some new life into the Judgment Day, or revigorating the Judgment Day a little bit. I liked how she got in Finn's face a little bit the other week about like, what the hell are you doing? You're sitting back here playing video games, and then I kind of, put the fire to his ass to kind of, go confront CM Punk, which led to that great match that we were talking about. So I'm gonna give Liv some
Yeah,
props here. She's back. She's doing some cool, interesting stuff with Raquel. Nothing super crazy, but again, like I'm cool with it. Again, there's not a lot going on, so Liv, I feel like she at least deserves to be mentioned on there, so I'll give her 5. So 3 and 4, I'm gonna go with the team of Rhea and Io. We were talking in a previous episode again about how they're a little bit thrown together here, but they actually have been working really well as a tag team. They're a big part of what the tag team division is right now, and their chase has been pretty interesting. Their story's good enough. Again, nothing that I'm super crazy about, but I do like them together for the time being. I don't know how long it's going to last. It could end pretty much any time as far as I know, but I'm pretty happy about where they're at the moment. So, um, number 2, I'm going to Raquel. A little bit about what we talked about on the last episode with how, I think she's a front runner to win for the women. She's been kind of putting herself ahead as at least the top female in Judgment Day, where it was previously Liv. I like the push she's been getting. I like the attack she's been doing on Stephanie. I think it's a seamless transition for her to win and then face Stephanie for the belt. And I hope she wins it. And then number one's probably going to surprise you. I'm going to put Becky there. Becky actually has been doing a pretty good job to me. I think that her stories are consistently one of the better stories in the women's division. And I'd be lying if I said that I'm not more interested in her character lately. Again, I've always given Becky the respect she deserves. It's just, to me, her character was getting overly stale. I'm kind of coming around to this IC thing slowly but surely. I do think, and especially because like Jade and Stephanie, Jade's never defended her belt, and Stephanie's only done it a couple times. So Becky actually is the best champion as far as the women, I think. So I'm going to give her the number one
Me,
spot.
I will give this to her and Maxine for that credit or whatever. They have made the women's IC belt they're starting to make it the workhorse championship for the women. Like they were defending it. It was out there. It was on display. And like you mentioned, the women's championships were not getting out, like Jade, not so much. Stephanie, not so much. But the IC title was out there. The United States Championship was out there. So these lower card titles, as quote unquote, are the ones that are actually getting defended and putting people out there in the spot. And I love it. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hoping to see a little bit more out of Julia. She at one point she was one of the people I was more excited about. She's kind of hasn't been doing much, but I think that she has the U.S. title back now. I'm hoping to see more from her. I'm hoping that she makes my list soon. So, but right now that's where I'm going to keep it. Live at 5. 3 and 4 shared by Rio and Io. Sorry, 2 Raquel, 1 Becky. For the guys. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go number 5, Braun. I feel like he needs to be mentioned. I'm kind of a little bit of a crossroads with what I think they're doing with him, but overall, he has been the most powerful person in the vision. He just had a world title shot. He has this suspension thing going on right now, which is interesting. It's kind of developing a lot more intrigue with their story. So I'm gonna put Braun at 5. 4, I'm gonna say AJ. I have some thoughts about this. Like, so he's got this career match now with Gunther. This is kind of like Cody going number 1 to me, but like maybe times 10. I never understand when a wrestler is willing to put their career on the line for nothing. Like, there's not even a title on the line. You like kick his ass backstage or something. Like, you don't have to put your career on the line to have a match for nothing. Like, it's just dumb to me. I think it's
Yeah.
honestly I should have put that. It doesn't happen a lot, so I guess it's not overused. But I think any usage of it is too much. Like, it's just the dumbest angle, and you've seen it a handful of times, and it never makes sense. So it's one thing if management's telling you, like, if you lose this match, you're done. But if you're saying, I want this match and I'll put my career up, and there's not even a title, at least put it like there at least has to be a title on the line for it to make some sense to me. When there's no title, you just want this match that bad, you're dumb. And again, going back to, I think it's insulting to the fans because nobody would ever do that in real life. Like, you got to make this at
No.
least semi-believable for me. But it is interesting. AJ is great. I think that they had a pretty good match against each other, recently. I think that this next match is going to be turned up at the Rumble, so I'm excited about that a lot. Really excited about that. 3, I got to put CM Punk, man. He just had that great match with Finn. His title reign's going pretty good. He's doing all the right things. I'm pleasantly surprised with CM Punk. I didn't like him after he left the company years ago. I thought he was such a pain in the ass in AEW because I was still watching it regularly at the time. He was super annoying. When WWE signed him, I hated it. I thought it was going to be the worst thing ever. But he's fallen in line and been a real good soldier since signing with WWE. And I kind of like him again. And he's again, he's just doing all the right stuff. So I'll give I'll give him his flowers at least at number three there.
That's
Number
fair.
two,
I
yeah,
yeah. Okay,
yeah,
so I'm gonna interject just for a couple of
yeah,
things
yeah.
that you said.
Of course, yeah,
Um, I feel like I feel like I agree with the career on the line bit that you said, with a small caveat. If they hate each other so much that like, I could see that, right? Like, you just hate this person so much that you're willing to quit your job if you can't beat their ass, like, kind of thing. Like, I could get that, but it has to be like, that's almost like that escalation level of like, this is it. This is the final, the final match in this feud. Like, we're closing it out, kind of thing. Not, well, I beat him, he tapped out, but then he cheated, so I'm gonna go and put my career on the line for a second match, kind of thing. Like, this rivalry does not seem that heated,
no,
and
it started because
you
he
you
called
kind of,
somebody else a bitch. Like you're mad that he called John Cena a bitch a few times, so that's why you wanted the initial match, and then he cheated. Yeah, I agree. Like it's just dumb.
yeah,
I still think
yeah,
it's dumb
and
anyway. But yeah, like it hasn't even been built up to the point of that much heat.
no, and I mean, like, we know that AJ wants to retire this year, like, we know that, so it's like, okay, cool. This is like, we put this out there on the podcast in the previous episodes. Gunther's probably going to be the one to do it because that seems like the new character that they're going with, kind of like the newer version of the Legend Killer, what they did with Randy Orton, right? Like,
Yeah,
I get that, but it's like, it's freaking January. Are we, like, he said he wants to retire in 2026. Like, did he mean the start of 2026? Like, we're not going to get any AJ for
yeah,
the rest of the year, like, kind of thing. Like, come on, guys, this
I
doesn't
hate
make
it.
any sense from a storyline point of view. So I don't like it. Um, and yeah, I think what you said about Punk is fair. I think the change in management helped a lot. Uh, when they booted Vince and, let other people come in, I feel like that changed the atmosphere a lot more, or, like, vastly changed it to a degree where people who were previously not open to discussions, were then willing to talk, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's amazing what happens when you get rid of a toxic work atmosphere,
for sure,
kind of thing.
absolutely. Yeah,
All right,
yep.
sorry to interrupt. Please
No,
continue.
no, very good notes. Very good notes. Number two for better or worse, and we've talked about it again over the last few episodes, but I got to put Gunther at two. I don't love this. Like I'm just going to start retiring Legends arc, but it is significant, and I can't not acknowledge him in a Power Five where he's doing, these pretty crazy things. Like, you know, he's coming off just ending Cena's career. Before that, he ended Goldberg's career. I mean, he's been in the main event picture for a long time now. He, now he might end AJ's career. He's got some pretty significant stuff going on, even if I question the direction of it. He still is, one of the biggest things going right now, and he's a hell of a wrestler. So, I got
He
to give
is.
him two. Even like I said, even if there's a lot of uncertainty with where they're going with it and how much I'll even like it, he's doing what he's being told, and he's doing it as well as I think it could be done. So I'll give him two. And then number one, I have to give it to Drew, man. Like he just won in the UK. He got his title back. It was a long road for him. He he deserves it. It was well done. Yeah, got to give Drew his flowers. He's on top of the mountain right now.
It's a solid list. I feel like both of those they're good, man.
Thank you.
Um, all right, so for the ladies, honorable mention, Liv and Roxy as a tag team. Um, I feel like it was a weird thing, obviously bringing Roxy in to the Judgment Day because that was going to be her landing spot, kind of thing, on the main roster, right? Makes sense. And Liv was out, so she got to tag with Raquel. They got to be champions, all of that fun stuff. I didn't know what to expect when Liv came back because that's her tag spot, right? And the fact that she's now going with the tag side and Raquel is getting the singles push was actually really interesting to me. And it's been driving the Judgment Day storyline, like you mentioned before. It's really the women in the Judgment Day that are driving that faction, not the men, unfortunately, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
I
And I'm
I
not saying
agree.
unfortunately like we need the men to do it, but I'm just saying it's like the guys, like, either storyline wise not being there or just them not delivering whatever, they were just getting kind of stale. And I think part of that is like we don't have Dom, right? Because of injury.
Yeah.
Like that he was he's an anchor and we don't have him right now, and it's kind of showing. So it was just really interesting, and I think I really like how Liv and Roxanne are working together in that new tag role and how everything's just kind of driving. So they
Yeah,
get my honorable mention.
I agree with that. If I could add to it, yeah, I think that that's a really good note because it definitely seems like they swerved from maybe what their initial plan was with that story because it was pretty well thought that Raquel's being brought in to cause tension with Liv, and they could still go that direction pretty much anytime they want. But yeah, for Liv to come back and Raquel to ascend, there to be no tension, and Raquel and Liv to kind of team up, and for it to seemingly be working out pretty well. I mean, that's a pretty big swerve that you wouldn't think would work out, but yeah, it's gelling pretty well.
Main Judgment Day is one of the more entertaining things happening in WWE, in my opinion. Like they just have a lot of different angles that the faction can go in, and they have like their fingers in a lot of different stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm just like they're kind of everywhere without being crazy huge, like it's only like what, 5, 6 members, and right now, like not an injured or anything, and in that they're able to hit literally the entire title spread from
Yeah.
the tag teams on both sides, the singles titles almost on both sides. It's just they can get everything, and it's kind of cool to watch because you never really know what storyline they're going to be in. um number
Absolutely.
5, so number 5, I do have Becky, pretty much for all of the same reasons that you mentioned. She's been very consistent. I'm not excited about this new uh kind of I'm the victim, and I mean almost like it I'm not getting political, but it's almost like the name calling stick that she's doing is like reminiscent of like Donald Trump, like during like the campaign lead up and stuff. He's just like,
No, for sure, for sure.
oh, miserable Maxine and stuff. It's just kind of like they're just it's like almost a mirror of that's what they're doing.
No, I've
And
thought that too, especially when she's like, I'm the best wrestler. Everybody's saying it. Sports Illustrated is saying it. Like she's
yeah.
absolutely Trump trolling.
Yes. So I was like, okay, this, I get what you're doing, but also like it's just kind of falling flat on me. It's not like this big push like when she was, I'm Becky Lynch, I'm the man, like that thing. And that push, literally pushing her to WrestleMania and everything. It's not that kind of storyline. It's just to me. But she's consistent, and she's consistently good. So she gets my number 5 spot.
Yeah, no, totally fair. Like I said, it's in a lull right now. So there's nothing like
Yeah.
there's not much that I think is going like super strong. But so yeah, that's totally fair.
So for number 4, I have Liv, just Liv. She gets
Okay.
like 2 spots on the list this time. Um, since coming back, they've been able to pretty seamlessly plug her in, and she's been able to not only be plugged in, but to make an impact, both singles and in the tag and in the Judgment Day faction, just on its own. Like you really got to see how much Liv was missed and how much she contributes. Um, so yeah, since coming back, I've been a fan. I was a fan when she was gone. I'm a fan now still. So she gets my 4 spot.
Yeah, and I think it definitely says a lot too, like how I like before she came back, I didn't really know where she was going to fit in anymore. You know, the fact that we both have her on our top five list kind of says a lot about how well she's made this comeback for herself.
Yeah, absolutely. So for number three, I have Rio. As a tag team, they I'm not a super big fan, like I mentioned, because the previous episodes, um, because it means that you're taking single stars away from the main event picture. But at the same time, that also frees it up for other people to get that shine, right? So I'm not mad at them going in and winning the titles because the Kabuki Warriors did absolutely need somebody that could rival them because you really look
Yeah.
at it and like Kyrie is insane as far as the high fly goes. And I think we all forget, that okay, Asuka's here spitting poison mist at people, but when you really look at what she was before she came to WWE and then when she was in NXT and then when she first got called up to the main roster, like she had to relinquish the title because nobody could beat her kind of thing,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Asuka's ridiculous. So having two former world champions team up to essentially create like the mega powers, to go in and win the tag titles made sense. I feel like it also lines them up as legitimate contenders against or a legitimate threat against Nia and Lash, who are, they're big. They're
Yeah. Yeah.
you're looking
Some
at
big
two
gals.
women who are giants for women, kind of thing.
Uh,
So um it gives them a solid like, hey, this is we're competition kind of thing and not little competition. Like it's not, oh, we're just here. Like, no, we're legit. So they get my number three spot. They've been doing really well. I love seeing them. I think they're gelling really well together and everything. So it's good.
yeah.
For number two, I got another tag team. We got Bailey and Lyra. I love Bailey's storyline right now. The going back and forth between all of her different personalities and stuff. Like I think we mentioned this in like maybe like episode 3 or 4 or something, right? But we said if anybody could pull this off, it's Bailey. And I feel like she's doing it. Like just going in and having, I'm the role model. No, I'm Hugs Bailey, like back and forth. You never know what's going to trigger her. Lyra's playing it up in the back, like absolutely hitting it on the head with the support. Like in the last episode, was it Raw? Going in and just like Bailey sitting there, you know, talking to herself, and Lyra's in the background, like sighing and like, oh God, not this
Yeah.
again, like,
Yeah.
kind of thing. I feel like it's been a great storyline, and then seeing them kind of up and down. You never really know what's going to happen when they're in the ring, but it's going to be a good match.
Right.
So
I hope they're elevated soon. But yeah, they're doing good stuff. Bailey's always a gem. I agree with you.
yeah, yeah. So they get my number two spot. Um, yeah, and for number one, it's Raquel. I
Yeah.
was not expecting, say, okay, cool, you have, the big the big guy model for lack of a better term, right? Like that's what we've always seen, it's like, oh man, he's 7 foot tall, he's gonna get the title soon or something, he's gonna be in the main event picture. Kind of same thing for the women, like I don't know how tall she is, but she's tall. She's a big woman.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Um, and it's like, okay, well, cool, she's gonna be an enforcer, like whatever, but she's been having really solid matches, and this singles push that they've had her on has actually been really, really entertaining for me. So I'm like, no, I want to see her go through. I want to see her win the title because Stephanie, without, maybe injured or whatever, but the lack of defenses, like you mentioned earlier, uh, gets to me. Because the title, I mean, I thought it was like a rule. It has to be defended every 30 days or you lose it. Like
I
we
mean,
just suddenly got rid of that
that
rule.
used yeah, right. That used to be a kayfabe rule, but yeah, apparently that one be forgotten.
Yeah, right. Don't worry. We haven't forgotten creative.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and that goes back to the things of like why anyway. So
Yeah.
I'm sitting here and like Stephanie is fantastic in the ring, but this that squeaky clean face persona is not doing her any favors. Like she got stale real quick
Yep.
with it, and she can't push it past anything or whatever. So I feel like this feud is really kind of helping to elevate her a little bit too, but it's really putting Raquel in the spotlight of like, yeah, no, I want to watch her. I want her to win the title. Like I want Big Mommy Cool to have gold around her waist. Like that's what I want.
And
So
honestly, Big Mama Cool is a good thing to call her too, because like Diesel was a bodyguard for a while too. Eventually, he got his championship. Honestly, same with Drew. Drew kind of came back as Dolph's guy, and he was now the only thing that's I think going to be different is I don't really necessarily expect Raquel to turn on the Judgment Day, but like she is elevating herself past this bodyguard role, and I appreciate you putting her number one. I'm hoping that that after the Rumble she's my number one too, because I think she's got momentum and I want to see more. Like this is the finally like the arrival of the Raquel I was hoping to get when she got called up from NXT.
yeah, I mean, better late than never, right?
Yep. Yep.
All right. So and then so moving on to the men, honorable mention, Finn Balor. I
Okay.
have to put him on the list. I just can't put him in the top 5 for
Fair
having
enough.
one good match. Um, it was a banger of a match, as we've said, and Finn is amazing, but he just hasn't been getting that spotlight like he should. But he absolutely deserves it, and he deserves a title shot. So, or a title reign, not a shot, a reign. So I'm putting him as an honorable mention. It was like, hey, let's get Finn back in the conversation.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I
Um,
couldn't put him on my five either, but yeah, I mean, I get it. But yeah, a good mention.
and then so for number 5, um, Obafemi. Like we're talking about it. They keep playing the vignettes and stuff. We're waiting for this dude to show up. Like I said, I watched him in NXT. I'm excited about this. He hasn't debuted yet. He's on the 5 literally because of the hype and because of what I've seen him do in NXT. So I'm excited. I want him on the main roster. I want to watch him. It's killing me that he's not there right now. Like it's killing me. Like I can't even express it. So I'm looking forward to him. Hype alone, he has number 5 on the list. Um, number 4, and this is gonna suck a little bit. CM Punk. I put him. He's kind of
Okay,
low for being
wow.
a champion. Yeah, he's low for a champion, but I mean um he's great. He's great in the ring and stuff, but this kind of this arc isn't doing a whole lot for me. I'm glad he's champion. I hope he wins at Rumble. So he goes on to be, which I think is what they're doing, is, kind of giving him his due. He got his quote unquote main event at WrestleMania, but we all know what should be the main event at WrestleMania is the
Right, right.
title.
The real
So
main event.
the real main event. So what I think they're doing is setting him up to be a real main event. Like he was the guy that, Seth got injured and they were able to put it on Punk and say, go and run with it. And he did, and he's been great. So I think that they're setting him up to get rewarded to, at least have his title moment at WrestleMania and be the real legit main event of
Okay,
WrestleMania.
right
Even if he
on.
doesn't win it, I think that's what's going on. That's my prediction. But either way, he's at number 4, still on the list, just not super high. For number 3, it's our boy Sammy.
Oh yeah.
Um, he's been getting that push without a push kind of thing, right? Like that you feel that groundswell of support behind him that he's gonna get there.
The
He's our
planting
prediction to win the
seeds.
Rumble. Yeah, so and it's all happening without him actually having to get in the ring and do it. Like he's just doing it because the fans want to see this. And I think they're finally giving it to him. And um yeah, if it comes down to him taking the belt off of Punk at Mania because he won the Rumble, like I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. You know, like I feel like that would be amazing. Where Punk gets his moment in the main event, Sammy gets to win the title finally, like everybody's happy. Number
Yeah, no,
two,
that's good.
oh yeah, so for number two, I put down Jacob. Him coming back was a huge impact. And you can argue him coming back is the reason Drew's champion, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, kayfabe wise, that's really a big part of it.
yeah. So the return of Jacob and him instantly getting this storyline with Cody, the sheer impact of him just showing up was enough to drive him up here. Like, he's getting a push. It's happening. He's moving up. He's going to go with Cody, who's going to just rub off on him and make him look, it's going to make him look even better. So I'm super, like I said before, I'm really invested in this. I'm super excited. He's my number two. And I mean, you called it. Number one, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
He's the champ. That was a great match. And I'm excited to see what he does with this, because we really haven't gotten a lot of Drew as champion without him getting kind of screwed over for it, right? Like, what I think the last time was with the Judgment Day when Damian Priest was still Judgment Day and took it with the main senior Money in the Bank, right? Like, I
Yeah,
think that
yeah,
was
I
the
think
last
so.
time. And, you know, since then we've had entire reshapings of, you know, the Judgment Day and stuff. And it's just, there's a lot going on, and Drew just kind of has fallen by the wayside, and now he's back on top, and I'm really excited to see what he can do, because he is a lot of fun to watch, and he has the ability to kind of dive into whatever character they have for him for that storyline and just run with it. So yeah, that he gets the number one spot.
I like it, man. Solid list.
Thank you. Um, okay, so we are grossly over time, I think, at this point. This is what happens when, you know, you have wrestling to watch. So
It'll happen. It'll happen.
it'll
We're big
it'll
wrestling
happen.
fans. We're gonna go off. You know, it's gonna happen.
That's fair. Okay, but we'll cut it here. Um, yeah, hopefully if you're listening to this, you didn't have to hear a bunch of the other mistakes. Some of the stuff's gonna sound kind of weird, because I'm not, you know, I'm not a miracle worker, so I can cut out some of the weird stuff earlier. But yeah, there's just going to be some technical difficulties, and thank you for hanging out with us for this long.
It
Um,
happens, man.
it happens. All right, so yeah, we'll close it out, I guess. I'm Michael.
I'm John.
Don't stop believing, guys.